All right, real quick, I think what we're going to do, you guys might have seen Betsy Allen Manning jump on. I think she's going to hopefully hop back on. I don't see her on right now. So real quick, we're going to just jump into a quick video, and we'll be right back.
Can you guys see me?
Hey, Betsy.
Can y'all see me?
Yes, Betsy, we
now you're
can.
good, baby.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi, how are you?
What's happening, beautiful?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're good. You
We're
ready to
rocking.
rock?
Ready to rock and roll.
Hang on one
Maybe
second,
we'll
guys,
give you,
before we start. Yeah, one second, guys. Before we start, anyone watching, that's a cute dog, Betsy. Before we start, if anyone watching right now can share, like, or comment, we greatly appreciate it. All these people that are joining the book with us have amazing messages. What you're doing by sharing, liking, commenting is spreading their amazing message and hopefully helping someone's life. You never know if Lane says something or Betsy says something that can change someone's life. And it's as simple as you sharing the video, liking it to get more engagement and commenting. So it means the world to us if you can share, like, or comment. Can mean the world to someone else as well. And I know you'll get a lot of, peaceful, good nuggets from Betsy and Lane and myself today. So any like, comment, and share, we really appreciate it. And back to Lane and Betsy.
Awesome, Betsy. Well, we are excited for you. I'm just turning real quick so people can see. Bam. Betsy
Oh
Allen.
yeah, there it is.
Boom, baby. So everybody watching, Betsy has been a huge influence in my life since we got connected. And I'll tell you this, just as a teaching lesson, hopefully, in how we got connected in the first place. And everything we do, guys, is totally transparent. So, there's nothing really to hide with anything that we do. But it was so cool. We were blessed to have Frank Shankowitz in the book. Frank is the founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, publishing and producing a movie right now called Wishman. And, after I did the interview with him, I just said, hey, Frank, anybody that you think might benefit from being in this book that you can connect us with. And he sent out an email, and Betsy responded back and said, hey, this is something I'm open to. Frank connected us, and, we just kind of hit it off, and it was a good opportunity for Betsy. And then she got scared and almost backed off, and then I closed her because she was being a wuss. And
What? I don't remember that.
I know. I remember everything. No, but it's been such a blessing to connect with Betsy over time. She's an amazing, amazing speaker, corporate trainer, among a lot of different things. And more importantly, Betsy, one of the things that I think you do better than anybody is you are an amazing networker, and you've connected me with people, and hopefully vice versa, that we can grow our networks together and really serve each other along the way. And so what we want to do today, Betsy, is just allow you kind of the opportunity to share some of your message, the progression of where you've come and how you've gotten to where you are, and how you've created a lot of success in your life, met your amazing significant other, who I've gotten the fortune to be able to talk to recently and hopefully do some business with. And so the floor will kind of be open for you, but obviously similar to the way that we did the interview, I'll ask you a couple of key questions for people that I think are very important, just based on, my knowledge of you and what we wrote in the chapter. So is there anything specific that you want to kind of lead off with, so we can kind of get this thing kicked off?
Yeah, well, I want to say I'm honored to be a part of this book because there are some amazing authors in this book as well. And Lane, you really just gathered a great team of people together. Hold on, sorry, my puppy's chewing my cord. Got to put her down.
Your new puppy.
New pup. Yeah, yeah. So it's an honor to just be in this book with such amazing people, and to get to know you, Lane, more, and Harris, you as well. We just this is great, a great team of people. So do want to start off by saying I'm honored, and I want to start off by saying, my favorite quote, which is, the fastest way to success is to get a tan. Take action now. There's so many people wait. They say, oh, you know what? I'll chase my dreams tomorrow. I'll chase my dreams tomorrow. And they're just passing by these open doors that they don't even realize are open for them. And sometimes those doors close before you know it. So if you have a dream in your heart, the start of what I want to say is just take action when it needs to be taken. And that's right now. It's not tomorrow. It's not the next week, the next month, next year. If you want to be in a different place a year from now, you've got to do something different now.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
my start off message.
Well, that's a great message, because, I was taught a long time ago, there's a lot of people who have fire on ice, meaning that they've got a lot of zest. They'll go do whatever. They'll fail forward faster, but they really don't have the skill set. They haven't found their lane yet. There's other people with a lot of knowledge on ice, meaning that they know more than anybody. They have 6 PhDs. Their wall is full of placards to show how intelligent they are, but they're not doing anything with it. And I think the key is to merge those two in the intersection of massive action, right, being on fire, combined with the knowledge behind it. That's when you get into the fast lane. And so we appreciate that. And Michael, oh my gosh, Martin Luther King. So you don't have to see the whole staircase; just take that first step, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And it's so important. So why don't you start off on kind of your first step? And if you want to talk about staying on top of a toilet when you were a little girl, see that tease I did there?
Yeah, I like that. Most people sit on the toilet or stand above it, but I like to stand on it. No, it's because I think everyone can remember what their childhood dream was. I wanted to be a firefighter or a doctor or something, and I always wanted to be a professional singer. I mean, probably a rock and roll star or something, but I wanted to sing, right? And that's just what I wanted to do. So my mom actually told me I would lock myself in the bathroom, and she'd hear the door lock, and I'd put the toilet seat down and stand on top of it, because the higher you got, the better the acoustics were. And I would sing one of my 2 favorite songs, probably the only 2 songs I knew at that time, which were ABCs or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And just on a side note, those 2 are the exact same tune. I figured out later on in life. So it's
row, row, row your boat.
Oh, okay. Didn't know. And blah blah blah.
If the three of us want to do that, we can do that at the end if you want.
It's something I make my audiences do, believe it or not. So yeah,
awesome.
That's it. Yeah. So I wanted to sing from a very, very young age. And I sang throughout, school and everything. And when I was about 19 years old, a friend of mine had just finished working on a cruise ship. And she said, go audition. It's great. You get to sing professionally, you get paid for it, and you get to travel the world for free. I thought, you can't get better than this when you're in, starting off in your 20s, right? That's the time to do it. So I did. I went and I auditioned, and I flew to Chicago, and I worked really hard for about 6 months straight. I would get up in the morning and, go to the gym, and then I worked as a waitress at the time. And then after that, I would go to dance class, and I would have a voice lesson. I mean, I worked really hard for 6 months. Fly to Chicago, and I auditioned as I wanted the lead role, but you have to also dance, sing. You have to be able to triple threat, right? Act, sing, and dance. So after my song, the vocal coach looks at me and she says, you want to be a lead singer? She said, have you heard our lead singers? And I said, yeah, absolutely. They're great. She said, well, I don't understand then, because they command a standing ovation when they're done singing. And you would have been lucky to have gotten a handshake for the pathetic performance you just gave. And my jaw just dropped. And if that weren't bad enough that she said that, then she takes it a step further, and it's even worse. She says, you should probably give up right now if that's what you want to do in life, because you'll never be lead. You just don't have what it takes. She said, we'll offer you the dancer singer position, because you can dance and you can sing backup, and maybe a little solo here and there, but you're just not a lead person. And I remember going back to my hotel room and crying, and I called my mom, who's supposed to console you, right? That's what your mom does. And she did for a bit, but I'll tell you, she said, Bets, let me ask you something. Are you good enough to sing lead? You know how good those leads are. You've heard them. are you good enough? And I said, well, I'm not at their level. No. And then she asked me something else. She said, could you be good enough if you worked at it? And I said, you know what, Mom, I know I can. I want this, but I also know I've got what it takes. I just need to work on it. She said, then take the job as a dancer singer, even if you think it's beneath you, right at the time, right? Take the job, go see the world, have some fun, but on some of your spare time, hire the lead singer on board to coach you and, and get better. And so that's what I did. So while everybody else was down at the crew bar partying it up, at the end of the night, I was working and I was in my room, my cabin, and I was vocalizing. I was practicing on my skill. And about a year and a half later, I auditioned again. It was for another cruise line, and I ended up getting the lead role. And I'll never forget the first time I sang my very first solo, and I struck the pose at the end of it, and I looked out at the audience, and a tear actually ran down my cheek as I got my very first standing ovation. And, the point of telling that is there are going to be people in your life that will put limitations on you that you have to be strong enough and want it bad enough to say, I'm not going to let the limitations that other people place on my life affect my future success and what I want to do. Mm-hmm. You've got to be willing to go after whatever it is you want with all your gumption. And you're going to get turned down and you're going to get rejected. And that's okay. That's part of the growth process. It's what you do with a rejection that's either going to move you forward or that's going to actually move you backwards at that point. So part of that was yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
a part of that is just, it's believing in yourself enough to say, I do. You have to be realistic, right? I'm not going to say I want to go be an NBA player and I've never, been able to shoot a hoop in my life, right? So, sure. We have to understand our limitations, but also if you do feel you have what it takes and you can stretch yourself, and you've got to be willing to put the time in. But there's also another key there is mentorship. If you want to go further in life, you've got to be willing to study from the people who are already doing it, who are already out there. And that's what I did is I found someone and I paid someone, and I wasn't making good money as a dancer singer, even though I'm cruising for free, the money I was making, I'm paying somebody to coach me and teach me how to be better. And that's key right there. And you know that as well as I do, right, Lane?
Absolutely. And you've got in there the 100%er, right? And you talked a little bit about that.
That's a quote that my dad gave me a long time ago. He said, if you don't, it's when I wanted to quit being a manager when I went into the corporate world. And he said, he's like, look, if you don't give 100% now when it doesn't matter, you won't give 100% when it does.
Right. And specifically in here, it says it's just as important to give 100% to the things you love, and equally, you must give 100% to the things you loathe.
Yeah. But how you show up in the little things is how you show up in the big things. And if I want to, I'm a speaker, I'm a motivational speaker, and a leadership speaker. So if I'm practicing my speech and I'm at home and sometimes I'll set out stuffed animals or something, now that I have a puppy again, I might practice in front of her, but I practice exactly like I'm going to perform. Once I have it down and I know I've perfected things and I've gotten it to a level where it's kind of second nature, I practice exactly like I'm going to go out there and perform, because that's how I'm going to show up on stage. And I know that. So that's giving 100% in those. I don't like to do the back end work of my speaking business. Some of those dreadful things that going out and cold calling and getting out there. But that's what we have to do. Sure. It's part of the business. And if you're not willing to do that, then entrepreneurship is not for you. You've got to be willing to do those little things and give 100% to those things. So you show up at 100% when it really matters.
Amen. And you have a couple of stories as well from going to Vegas and working there for a little bit and the success that you created there. But I think if you're willing to, you can go back and forth in the different lanes that got you to some of what you're doing right now. But one thing that I want to make sure you mention is you talked about investing into yourself. I think we pay for things one of two ways, either through the failure that we create because we try to do it on our own, or investing and paying for it to hopefully lessen the roadblocks and the detours and the tolls that we'll face along the road to success. And as you can see, here, the road to success is always under construction, right? And so you have, whatever we construct in our lives, if I were to look at your bank account, your body, your relationships, you've constructed that, and that's true with everybody. And really whatever we construct starts in our mind. and you've been blessed to invest, I'm assuming, a decent amount of financial resources, time and energy into learning from one of the best. And if you want to mention who that is, that's great. If not, that's okay too. But I think he's really helped develop you and hundreds of thousands of people around the world with some of his training. So if you're willing to, I'm actually looking at the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership right now. And so if you want to share some of that, because it's just so important. And obviously, as a mentor yourself, you're most likely wanting to attract some people that, you can teach and mentor and get other speaking gigs as well. So do you want to mention that particular person, maybe some of the nuggets that you learned?
Yeah, well, my goodness, when you're in his name is John Maxwell. If you haven't heard of Dr. John Maxwell, the number one leadership expert or guru in the world. And if there's one thing that I learned is that when you want to be the best in any area, who do you learn from? You learn from the best, right?
Yeah.
It amazes me when people, they want to make $1 million in their business, yet they are getting mentored by someone who makes $100,000 in their business. You want to go to the top level. You've got to learn from the people who are already there at the top level. So for me, I'll lead into it this way. I was at a bank a couple weeks ago, and the guy there said, I was opening up my business savings account, and he said, "What do you do?" He's like, you seem so passionate. And I said, I'm a leadership speaker. And he's like, how did you know that you wanted to do that? And I said, because I was in a company for 6 years that the managers abused us, like not physically, but verbally and emotionally abused us. And when I moved up into management, I started to hear things come out of my mouth that my dad would be ashamed of if he ever heard me say those things. And I remember it became my mission to want to make sure people were never treated like that again. And that first of all, I needed to become the best leader that I could be. So, and then from there, I wanted to teach people how to be the best leader they could be and to never, ever, ever treat people that way. So I invested heavily. It was around $5,000 at the time. And I think it's gone up since then to become a certified John Maxwell trainer, speaker, and coach with his team. And, you talk about nuggets. My goodness, everything from his 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership to the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. There are so many great teachings I get to do of his now. And, one of the things he talks about is the law of momentum. Once you get going on something, if you stop that momentum, that's going to stop you altogether. A lot of the times we procrastinate because we take that step back and we lose the momentum that we've had. That law of momentum pushes us forward. So I didn't just stop at John Maxwell. I started diving into every leadership book, seminar, webinar, you name it. And when I learned it, I always ask myself 3 questions whenever I learn something new. And that's, where can I use this information? When can I use this information? And who can I share it with? And I looked at that, and I joined one of the top training companies in the nation, and I went around nationwide training companies like Toshiba, BMW, U.S. Department of Defense, and training them on how to be better leaders. And all because I took the time to invest in myself first. I never would have known that it was possible to do that if I didn't know, first of all, what I wanted, which is clarity and what you want, and then invest in the right mentorship. And then from there, where are you going to use the information to share it? Who are you going to share it with?
Amazing.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Horace.
Yeah. So Betsy, it sounds like, throughout your career, you're becoming more and more successful. But the more successful you become, the more knowledge you're trying to seek and get better and learn. When I think some people reach a certain level of success, they become stagnant, and they think they don't need to learn more, they don't need to go to any more seminars, they don't need to read any more books. How can you help people overcome that factor of becoming stagnant? Because it seems like you keep learning and you keep getting bigger and better coaches, and and your life shows that. That's
such a great question. It's actually something it's actually something I ask on. I just started a leadership podcast called 3Q Leadership. It launches in January. And one of the questions I ask, and Lane, I have to thank you because you've introduced me to some amazing leaders that I've been able to interview for this as well. And one of the questions I ask them is, you're a natural born leader. You worked on yourself. You're a natural born leader, but you've also worked on yourself. Why is it important for you to continue to develop yourself and continue to grow? And I get the same answer between all of these top leaders I've interviewed. And that's because the reason is times change. we're changing. People change. The economy is changing. We have to be willing to change with it and adapt to these changes. And if you don't educate yourself and keep yourself up to date with the latest leadership skills, leadership characteristics, leadership habits that make you successful, then you're doing a disservice not only to yourself, but you're doing a disservice to the people that you're wanting to lead. So for me, and when it comes down to leadership, the reason I wanted to keep growing is because things keep changing and I have to grow and change with the times. As entrepreneurs, we know online, social media, online marketing, everything is constantly changing and we have to stay up to date in order to grow with those changes. And if you have a good mentor, your mentor is growing with those changes as well. Someone asked John Maxwell one time, he's like, man, they said to him, I wish I would have met you 20 years ago or read your stuff 20 years ago. I would have been in a different place. And he goes, no, you wouldn't. And I said, no, really, you don't understand. I needed you 20 years ago. And he goes, believe me, you wouldn't have gotten to a different place because 20 years ago, I wasn't writing what I'm writing now. I wasn't writing the books that I'm writing now. I've evolved. I've educated myself along the way. I've stayed up to date, right? So he's continuing. Even someone like John Maxwell is always continuing to learn and to grow and expand. And our business expands as our mind expands. So it's so important. That's such a great question. Thanks for asking that, Harris.
Yeah, it was. And I got to see John in August in Salt Lake City, and he kept raising his hand, and it's not what you think. It's just talk about uphill, right? Everything he said, it was that visual that everything is uphill, but our habits are downhill usually. Yeah. In other words, we want what's up here. We want to get at the top. We want to have a number one best-selling book. We want to be paid $40,000 to show up at an event and speak for an hour and leave, or whatever it is in your business. But the reality is the habits are downhill. We're lazy. We don't do the things that we need to do. We don't become a leader. And it's so visually appealing for that. Real quick, Betsy, it's interesting when I created Changing Lanes, not that I want to make it about that right now, but people have a misconception, I think, of what it is. I was fired by my mentor at the time who basically let me go 6 different times. And the last one, he was basically, dude, you're not going to make it, with me. You're never going to work as hard for me as you will for what I know you want to go do for yourself. And, it was very pertinent. So as I'm driving home, talking to myself, as I'm literally physically changing lanes in a car, I'm talking to myself, Lane, you need to change. You need to become the person that these guys want to be around. And, I thought I was. The truth of the matter was not in every single level. And so changing lanes is really my own, every time I hear that, it's every interaction, this interview, every time I text anybody, anytime we get a new client, it's changing lane, right? It's literally making me a better person. And it's that symbiotic relationship between the two people that hopefully it's a positive symbiosis, meaning that we both grow together, but sometimes it's not necessarily the case. And the people we surround ourselves with can make a big impact on that. And so if you're willing to, maybe just share anything else that's really important for you, for the audience to understand, why did you do the book? Why are you going to write another one? What are you doing in the marketplace? And maybe an ideal client for you. If somebody's watching this, they say, man, she's amazing. She's been trained by the best. She is the best in what she does. She's abundant. She's a great networker and she wants to help me succeed. Who are you looking for and who can we introduce you to, or who can, be one of your clients moving forward?
Sure. Well, first I'll start by kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying about being that type of person that people want to be around. Because one of the things I always say in my talks is be the type of person that someone wants to answer the phone for. And the people that they call you up and all they do is complain. And so, when you see them on the end of your phone, you're going, oh gosh, I don't have 15 minutes, 20 minutes to hear a complaint right now. And we have our friends every now and then we need events. But other than that, are you the type of person that someone wants to answer the phone for, that they say, oh my goodness, if I talk to Lane today, I know I'm going to get some positive energy. And, I know Lane, if you're calling me, it's going to be a fun phone call. We're going to have laughter and it's going to be a productive phone call as well. So you're always someone that I'm going to answer the phone for. So that's one of the things. I think just a tip or piece of advice I'd like to leave people with today is, I do talk about my 3 key leadership and the 3 areas that you can grow as an entrepreneurial leader. And the 3 areas are your skills. So constantly working at your skills, growing in each area. So whatever your line of business is, what it's going to take to get you to that next level on building those skills. Write those out and work at them one at a time. Second is your character. Be that person that people want to answer the phone for. Be a person with high integrity, because that will show up in everything else that you do as well. High integrity in your marketing, high integrity in your relationships, high integrity in your word, obviously, as well. And then the last is your habits. And those habits that you're developing are the one habit I would say that every top leader I've interviewed has mentioned is consistency. If you are consistent in what you're doing, because I look at people that are even way above me, where, you look at like the Tony Robbins, the John Maxwell's. Do you know why they're at that level and we're not at this point? But they're at that extreme level. Is because they're consistent in what they're doing on a daily basis. Yeah. They show up every day with their expertise and share that. So those are the three things I'd leave people with. And for me, ideal client is, I do a lot of corporate speaking, and I do some entrepreneurial speaking as well. So, for me, it's all about motivating people to be the best that they can be in those three areas, and learning how to improve with your skills, your character, your habits all the time.
Awesome. Betsy,
very
if
cool.
Someone wants to get connected with you, if someone wants to get connected with you, what is the best way for them to reach out and, follow you on social and things like that?
Sure. So on Facebook, it's Betsy Allen Speaks, or sorry, no, that was the old one, Betsy Allen Manning. So Facebook.com/Betsy Allen Manning. Tell I've done a lot of social media over the years. LinkedIn, same thing, Betsy Allen Manning. You can come to my website, take a look around there. I do have a free giveaway for anyone that wants to come on to my website, which is www.betsy, B-E-T-S-Y, allenmanning.com. And I have a leadership productivity formula, which gives you the 10 ways to beat procrastination and start getting some stuff done. So that's absolutely free.
Damn.
Come on over and just put your name and email, and you'll get that today.
Awesome. So everyone that's listening, I posted the link to Betsy's site in the comments of the video. So just go there. I also tagged her in a couple things on the video. So making it really simple for you guys just to, get connected with Betsy. And, yep, there's her chapter right in the book. So get connected with Betsy. Awesome story. Thank you for jumping on. Lane, do you have anything else?
No, Betsy, we just appreciate you, and I'm excited. I will be hanging out with you. It looks like in
January?
the second week in January down in Dallas. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to have some fun down there and do some things. And guys, honestly, it's just, if you are somebody in the industry that can serve Betsy, reach out to her. She will not disappoint. Every single person I've ever introduced her to, she's blessed their lives. And I think that they're doing the same for your new leadership podcast and everything that you're doing. So, and vice versa, if you want to borrow her knowledge for a second, send her a message and say, hey, I need to learn from somebody like you. You're a strong female entrepreneur. You're doing amazing things. You're full of integrity, and Betsy, one thing again, as we kind of wrap up, there's a common theme. I think we attract who we are at some level. And, Elliot was on earlier. You saw him when you jumped on. While we have different faiths, at the end of the day, the faith still drives us. And, you lead with that. And you first and foremost are a great person, an amazing woman, a great wife, now a new puppy owner. And, you lead. Yeah, exactly. A furry mommy. I'm a furry daddy. Mine just snuck in the door somehow, so I got to go fix my door after you jump off. But, we do attract who we are, and you become an amazing person that I continue to learn from. And so we appreciate your contribution and everything. So are there any last kind of parting words that you want to share in the next couple of minutes before we wrap up?
Well, thank you so much for all your nice comments, Lane. And you, like you said, like attracts like. John Lee Dumas, he's in the book as well, and I listen to his podcast every single day, and he ends his podcast with, you're the average of the 5 people you're around the most. And I think that's so true, and it's so important. I like to say that inspiration is a lot like a cold. You tend to catch it from the people that you're around. And, if you want to catch some inspiration, you've got to be around the people that inspire you. You've got to be around those people that are true leaders. That's what entrepreneurship is. You're not only leading your life, you're leading your customers, and you're leading the people that work with you and for you as well. So, a parting piece of advice is just take that role seriously. Leadership's not a position, it's a responsibility. And you're responsible to serve the people that you have a passion to serve, and serve them with the utmost integrity in everything that you do, and you will have customers for life.
Wow, awesome. You know, we took that concept that John talks about, and most people do, and we just surrounded ourselves with 20 awesome people instead of 5, because we do everything a little bit bigger and better than most. So, you know, everybody in here is amazing. And again, you know, you mentioned JLD, and you've mentioned this, and a lot of successful people do. Success leaves clues. And it's funny, when you messaged me about his new book, the Freedom Journal, that you had just purchased, said, Lane, I think you would love this thing. I got it. And then I messaged John. It kind of gave me the spark to say, hey, what other better person to invite to be in the book than somebody that has the biggest podcast, you know, in the world for the exposure that we might get. And we served him first. I said, dude, just don't worry about it. You know, we want you in, you know, yada, yada. And so you actually were the catalyst and the spark behind me messaging him to get him in. And I think it's a win-win-win, because you wanted to be in a book with him. We got him in, and we all win together. So we appreciate you doing that.
That's one of the habits of 7 habits of highly effective people, right? Creating a win-win for everyone. So I'm glad that we can do that together. And I think that's what servant leaders do. They always find a way to create that win-win. So
absolutely. Well, we appreciate it. Everybody watching, make sure you get your copy of the book today. We are climbing the ranks right now, it looks like. And so we'd love to hit number 1. And so all you got to do is download it. The link is in below somewhere in here, or it's probably breaking Facebook right now. I see the virality of what's going on with everybody. So we appreciate you guys continuing to share this. Get your copy of the book. Read Betsy's chapter starting on page 14. You're one of the first ones, Betsy. So we appreciate your contribution. Everybody get the book, read it, and share it with as many people as you can, because books can change lives. Not just the books, the information of the stories that are inside are the key. So thank you, Betsy. Have an amazing day. We appreciate it. Love you.
Love you guys.
See you,
Thank
Betsy.
you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. What an awesome start to the seminar, online seminar. Lane, what is the biggest piece of advice you learned from Betsy? I learned personally, and Sophie's mentioning this in the comments, that leadership is not a position, it's a responsibility. You know, when you look at this as a responsibility, it's our responsibility to put this telesummit together, to share all this content and help change someone's life today, along with the launch of the amazing book, Lights in the Fast Lane. The link is about to be in the live stream. Yeah, that's the best piece of advice I learned. Lane, do you have anything specifically from Betsy or Elliot?
You know, this theme I'm thinking, sometimes I think we overlook the accomplishments that we've done. And I'm not patting myself on the back at all. That's not why I'm about to say what I'm about to say. But it is amazing that there's a common theme among successful entrepreneurs. And everybody in this book has accomplished something, and everybody has a story in their life, and everybody's story can impact somebody in a different way. And so for me, it's just the amazing, you know, conglomeration of these epic leaders that have struggled massively. They've invested a lot of time, energy, money. As Tony Robbins says, it's not the resources they had, it's the resourcefulness that they had. And so I just, you know, just have these first 2 people. Like, we still have so many people to interview. And just with these 2 and everybody, the common theme about getting into the fast lane is the intersection of your aptitude and your best attitude. When those merge, you get into the fast lane. So we appreciate everything you guys have done so far. Horace, I think you got a couple cool things to do real quick, and then we'll join you guys here in a second.
Sir. Awesome, guys. One thing I want to say before, I'm going to play a couple videos for you guys, but one thing I want to say is our next guest, who's hopping on in about 25 minutes, is Ron Klein. You might not know his name, but I guarantee you use his invention multiple times throughout the day. Boom. So Ron is actually the inventor of the credit card magnetic strip, the MLS system for real estate, you know, the New York Stock Exchange system. Amazing guy. His chapter is right here. Great story. Literally, he has more energy than me. I'm a 22-year-old kid. He rides his bike all over the place. Great energy. Awesome guy to be around. Super excited for him to jump on in the next half hour or so. One thing I really picked up from Elliot and Betsy and Lane is you really have to understand yourself, and that's how you win. Betsy and Lane, you know, all 3 of us really, all 4 of us, love what we do every day. We're excited about what we're doing, and that's because we understand who we are and what we're meant to do in this world, right? So you have to understand yourself. And when Elliot jumped on, we spoke a little bit about Gary Vaynerchuk. So I was fortunate enough to work with one of the most amazing teams I've ever worked with in my life, the team behind Gary's brand, some of the most amazing individuals. I was beyond blessed to work with all of them. And, side by side with Gary at times, just being around that energy, I learned so much. And I got to help create one of these videos called Understand Yourself. Gary puts out a lot of these, motivational videos. This is one of them that I helped put together. It's all about understanding yourself and knowing how you win. So I'm going to play that for you guys really quickly. Hope you enjoy it.
If people focused on what they dominated at and not tried to be something else, they would win. It is just so obvious to me who's winning and who's losing. A lot of people look at finished products. They look at LeBron today. They look at Beyonce today. Trying to win and not being scared and not fearing that loss because of others, not yourself.
I want to be where you are. I've got...
What's blocking you?
I don't know.
Other people's POV?
Yes.
Everybody here doesn't like losing because they're worried what other people think about their loss. Yep. That's the number one thing that holds people back. To me, self-awareness is what are you good at? What do you like? What puts you in a position to be successful? If I didn't have the passion for the game, I wouldn't do it. Too many people want to be something versus recognizing what they are. And it's the people that understand themselves first that are winning.
Cool. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. So that was just a little video talking about Gary and understanding yourself and you will win. What, this year-long project has been for Elaine and I is cultivating a book that has stories from so many different people in so many different lanes that literally help you unlock your potential. Let's say you want to create a product and take it on, and put it into stores and put it all over TV. Well, hey, just flip the Kevin Harrington's chapter and figure out how to do that. I'm fortunate enough to be a national best-selling author before I turned 22. Now I'm attempting to get two-time best-selling author by the time I'm 22, before I turned 23, actually, And there's a lot of young entrepreneurs out there. I'm not bragging or boasting about myself. It takes a lot of hard work, but I created with Lane a six-figure business, and I feel that I've become pretty, successful in my years, and you can see how I did it in the book, literally step by step, and how you can do it too. We have so many stories in here that literally Mark Lack interviews the top business people in the world, and he shares his story of how he became the #1 business show in the world. If you want to start a podcast or a show, listen to Mark Lack or John Lee Dumas. We literally outline everything you need to know in this book, and that's how you unlock your true potential. So that's, essential. What I want to do is play another video for you guys, and then we'll kind of get in talking about more about the company, the book, our launch. Again, we appreciate any like, share, or comment that you guys can, give us, and let me play another video for you guys. Hope you enjoy. Awesome, guys. So that was just a short little clip about Lane. If you want Lane to come speak to your event, school, company, please reach out. I just left a comment in the sections to book Lane. Send an email to laneethridge@gmail.com or lane@changinglanesnow.com, and we'll be in touch, and we'll come out and serve your audience and serve your community wherever in the world you are. We will try to make it work. So go ahead and send us any requests. Also, if you want to get in touch with anything we are doing, go to lifethefastlanebook.com. There's a bunch of links to get to the book. and read about all the different amazing contributors we have in the book, and as well as what Changing Lanes is, our mission statement, and more information about why we're doing this amazing book. But all the way at the bottom, there's a little opt-in. If you guys want to keep up with everything we are doing at Changing Lanes International, just go ahead and subscribe to our email list. We do not, spam you guys. We actually respect your inboxes and your time, and we only send information that we feel is valuable to you, and it's not a pitch every single time. It's actual valuable content. And if we do these live streams again, sometimes we're just doing it to our tribe exclusively, which we will only tell to our, email subscribers and Facebook likers. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our email list, because that's where you'll get, our first, live streams, events, things we are doing, as well as our next event. You guys will get the pre-sale tickets before everyone else out there in the world at a special price as well. So make sure you subscribe to our list. Again, if you need anything, please contact me or Lane. I'll also put my email in the comments, my personal email. So if we can do anything to help you or help your business, please reach out. Lane, do you have anything? Oh, Lane just jumped off. Cool. So hope you guys are enjoying it. Please comment and like. What I want to do now is talk a little bit more about our next guest, Ron Klein, who should be jumping on here soon. Oh, there's the man of the hour. So we were just talking about you. All good, brother.
Good or bad?
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to watch it again through all 9 hours at the end.
I gotta watch it.
No, just kind of talking about the opt-in and more information about our next event and how people can kind of get the exclusive pricing to it. I don't really want to announce any of the speakers yet. Guarantee you guys are going to be awesome. The event is going to be unbelievable. We will. Lane, should we announce the location at least?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Awesome. So I live in Omaha, Nebraska, where it's cold and it was flurrying yesterday. So when we were deciding where to go, Lane used to live in a beach city. He was next to the beach all summer. So he said, Horace, where do you want to go for the event? I said, I need to go to somewhere warm, somewhere by a beach, and somewhere where it's not going to rain or snow or any of that stuff. I just want 70 and sunny. And I only thought of one place, which used to be Lane's home for a long time. We're going to be in beautiful San Diego, California, for Changing Lanes Live, Life in the Fast Lane, which is an event all around this book, the contributors, and we're also going to bring in some experts from around the world to share their stories, and you actually get to network with them. We're also going to do this big pool party, things like that, so you get to network with all these people and, have a couple cocktails. If you ever want to buy me one, I'll take you up on it. We can chat. So you get to meet everyone on a, level basis. There's some events that I've been to personally, Lane, I know you've probably been to some of them too, where the speaker gets on stage and then they get off and they go into the green room and you can never talk to anyone. The people in the audience are valuable, but you also want to share your story with some of the speakers. So at our event, you have access to everybody. We don't hide any of the speakers from you. We don't hide anyone. You get to talk to everyone in the room. What I did when I actually went to Changing Lanes 2, Kairos, was, I set out a goal to meet every single person in the room. Some people go to an event sometimes and they're like, okay, I need to meet this person and I need to meet this person, versus I want to meet everybody if it's possible. In a room of 6,000 people, that might be a little rough. I say the right people come to me, and the right people, I'll connect with the right people, and I'm not chasing anyone in specific. So San Diego is our next event. It's coming up very soon. We'll release more information on that. The fastest and the best way to keep up on all that is to subscribe to our email list. Again, that's lifeinthefastlanebook.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom, past all the contributing authors. There's just a little link that says signing up for our email list. Go ahead and sign up for that. If you want me to manually add you if it's not working or whatnot, just send me an email, horacereese@gmail.com. It's in the comments, and I'll go ahead and add you manually and make sure you're getting all of the information.
Yeah, and Horace, I think you're going to reach to the computer and punch me in the face, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's do this. Tickets aren't going to be cheap because of the value that we bring for 3 days. But what I want to do as a gift is let's figure out a way to give one away based on a call to action that we're going to do. So Horace, why don't we think of that? And And before the end of this particular session, before I bring Ron on, let's just mention that, whether it's emailing a certain email address or opting in, to a particular page. Then just think about that, whatever the most effective way is. What we'll do is at the end of the day, with everybody that has done that, we'll draw one of them at a random algorithm, and they'll be gifted a ticket. What do you think?
Awesome. Here's what we can do. Lane, let me know if you like the idea. And guys, we're totally, just going off of this. What if everyone that shares will be put into a drawing, and anyone that shares gets put into that drawing at the end of, our whole telesummit, we'll draw from that. Or we could even do everyone that comments, likes, and shares.
So, sorry, I was typing to somebody. So just tell people specifically so they know what they need to do, either if they're if they're actually watching now or whatever. Sorry, my phone just
so what we'll do, this is what we'll do for the raffle. If you share, you get 3 names into a bucket, basically. If you comment and share, you get 2, and if you like, you get 1 name in the drawing. If you do all 3, we'll get you 5 names. Cool?
Bam. All right, cool. Deal. So
that might be a little hard for tracking. But we'll take care of it, guys.
We'll make it work. That's what we do. So will you put that down in the comments, Horace, so people can see that? And maybe what we'll do is we'll draw it tomorrow, so you have all day to do that. Because some people will be watching this throughout, randomly, like it's only 9:15 a.m. in San Diego right now, which is where the event will be. We're going on 12:15 East Coast time where I am. So I think it's 11:15 where you are. So we'll wait till tomorrow to actually do that. So you have all day to basically share, comment, like, put the hashtag Life in the Fast Lane book. So we already have epic speakers. We're not going to mention them right now, but we're working on some very, very cool things. It'll be our biggest event. So why don't we do this? Horace kind of mentioned it, and this is a perfect transition into something I wasn't necessarily going to talk about, but since he brought it up, I want to kind of share a little bit about how Horace and I met, because it will show and prove the importance of live events. So I was blessed to speak at an event called Seeker Knock, which is also in San Diego, put on by Greg, who we mentioned earlier. And I worked for him for a little while, and I spoke on stage for, I think, 10 minutes max. And I was wearing my ridiculous jumpsuit that I always do when I speak, because I'm living life in the fast lane. And this young kid comes up to me after I'm done and basically said, "Dude, I love what you had to say. I want to be a part of whatever you're doing." And I said, "Good, be in my next book," because I was working on my second book at the time. And he's like, "Okay, I'll figure out a way." And we just kind of talked for a little bit and then left the event. Didn't really think that much about it. And I get this message. I follow up with him, and he basically says, "Dude, I don't really have the investment to be able to do the book, but I want to be a part of it." And I've kind of always figured out a way to do that. And later I would find out all the crazy things he's done to be a part of everything that he has done. And so, he did. He invested the amount to be in the second book that we did called Kairos. And we got to know each other. His story was amazing. The progression of all the people he surrounded himself with, sneaking into places he probably shouldn't have gone, just to shake hands with people that, basically told him that he wasn't worth it. And long story short, it ended up being Horace, who's now the president of Changing Lanes International. And so, the events are a place in which you can shake hands, meet people, really network with high-end individuals, but not only that, learn from amazing speakers. And I think there's a lot of values for events, one of which is learning from very, very key, successful influencers in the industry. Second is to network with the people that are there. If it's a good quality event, it's going to attract good quality people to be in the audience. And sometimes you can do business together with those people. It may turn into speaking gigs with new audiences that you didn't know before, or maybe you just drop one nugget over lunch with somebody that literally changes their life. I remember specifically some events where, I don't want to say I didn't give time of day to them because I do that for everybody, but I didn't think anything would ever come from some of these people, and they become clients. I've been on their podcast, and actually one specific person was kind of down and out, and they really needed my help at one point, and it was just simply, a little donation to help them get back on their feet, and I've been at events where people have reached out to me afterwards and have helped me on the flip side. So events are a key, essential part of being a lane changer, and they are pivotal in really discovering the right lane for you. And I think Betsy brought up a really good point. Betsy Allen Manning, if you didn't see her, just kind of scroll back and you can watch her half-an-hour segment. But she really brings up a good point about John Maxwell, who's basically saying, look, if you knew me 20 years ago, I know you said you need me then, but the reality is, I wasn't the person that I needed to be in order to help you become the person that you need to be, because I've learned so much over the last 20 years. And I think that's true with everybody. Events are specifically designed, and I think there's this power of possibility that I talk about a lot. We know specifically sometimes, like if you come to Changing Lanes, you're going to learn the car formula. We're going to unpack it for 3 days, and we're going to help you do that and apply it to your business. That's an example of tangible things that you will learn. Horace is going to be talking about some of the digital marketing techniques and strategies that he's learned by working with Gary Vee, who's one of the top in the world. And so, we will specifically teach you certain things. But at the same time, there's this power of possibility. It's the concept that, just by showing up, you don't know what is going to come from that. Law of attraction or whatever you want to call it. I've got a client right now, Yvonne, if you're watching this is kind of directed to you, but it's true with everybody. You got offered this ticket to go to an event called GoPro in Las Vegas. It's happening today for the next couple of days, put on by a guy named Eric Worre. He's got Sir Richard Branson as the keynote, and then Tony Robbins as the keynote. I would say that's a pretty good lineup, right? And she got offered this ticket, and she's kind of sitting there saying, well, should I do it or should I not? And I'm not calling you out, Yvonne. You got to do whatever's right for you. And life happens sometimes, and there's circumstantial situations that sometimes prohibit us. And I really think that you either find excuses or you find, results. And you really can't have both at the same time. And so for everybody, if you're given the opportunity to go to an event, whether you have to pay for it or you're gifted a ticket, go. Because you don't know what's going to happen. I'll give you an example right now. And I'm kind of putting this out to the world. We already know what's going to happen. We just haven't gotten confirmation. So Jeff Hoffman, if you're watching, this is for you. But I was in Minnesota with my beautiful fiance. I think she was my girlfriend. She was my girlfriend at the time. And Horace invited me to come to this event. It happened to be my significant other, girlfriend at the time, now fiance.
What? Hang on, Lane. Let's stop.
Yep. We're still recording on here, though.
Yeah, we're recording.
So for those of you who are watching this, just for the Blue Jeans part, just kind of a recap until we get this thing back up. We've had 2 experts from the book, Life in the Fast Lane. The whole reason we're doing this whole thing is this book called Life in the Fast Lane. And, it's been an amazing journey to interview 22 experts about their story and the key knowledge and wisdom that they have, the driver's manual that they put together for their own life. And so we've been interviewing people. So far, we had Elliot Grossbard was the first guest we had, and then Betsy Allen Manning was the second one. We have Ron Klein.
All right,
Welcome
guys.
back,
I think we crashed Facebook Live, Lane.
And that was one of our goals, baby.